Hello, everyone. So it's great to be here at PDF Days again. I think last time it was in 2022. Yeah. So my name is Elodie Tellier. So I'm CEO of JLB Informatique. So as Thomas said, as you can tell, it's a French company because of my accent. So I usually talk really fast. So I'm going to try to talk slowly this time. So I hope I succeed. And today we're going to explore a question that's at the heart of where our industry is heading. In case we didn't notice, can smart really be safe? So in other words, as we embed AI deeper into PDF workflows, can we innovate at full speed without losing control of our data? So here's a brief overview of what we're going to talk about in this presentation. So we'll start with why this topic matters to everyone in the room, then look at the shift from static to intelligent PDFs, and from there we'll dig straight into the risks AI brings. We'll talk also about how PDF itself can help, the mitigation strategies you can use, and we'll build a tentative roadmap for safe AI, and we'll finish with key takeaways to keep in mind. I guess that's a picture of me of the last conference, last PDF Days. Yeah. So a quick word about me. So I've spent over 15 years in document management. So since January, I've been the CEO of a small French software editor in the field of information management. But before that, most of you may know me as the COO of Orpalis, which is now part of a bigger company called Nutrient, which develops PDF toolkits among other SDKs. So maybe some people know the GD Picture software. And also, like Thomas said, I'm on the board of the PDF Association. So let's start this presentation with a short story that shows how quickly a clever AI feature can backfire. I'm sure you all have pretty good stories about that too, but in my example, a disclaimer, this is a work of fiction. So names, character, businesses, places, events, and incidents may be the products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to actual person living or dead or actual events may be purely coincidental. Or not. So let's imagine that a colleague finds this great free Gen AI tool for translating PDFs. Everybody thinking, yeah, fantastic, this will save us hours. Then someone runs a confidential, redacted PDF from a client through it, instant translation. And a good one too. Perfect. So just to be sure it's okay with everyone, the person shares the link to the translation to a few people, saves the result as a PDF, sends it to a third party for consultation, and files it in the appropriate shared drive in the company's cloud. A few days later, when someone finally opens the link and realizes that all the confidential data appears in the translation, and worse, when he wants to double-check something on Google, here is this document fully indexed on the first page. So that sounds quite terrible, and believe me, it happens, and it will happen again in different forms, but things like that happen. And you think this would never ever happen to you? Well, think twice. So why this matters to everyone? So now you may think this is what we just saw is a Gen AI developer's fault, or the product manager's fault, or the person who used the tool without checking fault, or just bad luck. But the truth is, if you want to integrate AI capabilities in your company, everybody will need to be involved in the process. So product leaders decide which AI features to integrate. Compliance teams have to assess whether those features meet the legal requirements. Marketing needs to communicate trust to customers. And developers, they are the one wiring it all together and making sure it works as it should. And let's not forget, I didn't put it here, but the top management, who is legally responsible of everything that happens in the company. So one more reason to lose sleep, let me tell you about that. So this is far from just a technical conversation. It's a business, a legal, and a trust conversation as well. So if we go back to the beginning, PDF started life as digital paper. Fixed layout, reliable display, portable between platforms. Then we added searchability, interactive forms, embedded media, etc., many things. So, but now we're in a new phase. So PDF is no longer just a static container for documents. It has become part of an AI-driven ecosystem that transforms how we work with information. So PDFs are turning into living data sources for AI, feeding information into extraction tools, summarization engines, redaction workflows, and even content generation. So AI-powered tools can analyze the text, tables, and images inside documents to extract meaning, generate metadata, and produce smart summaries. So these AI-driven solutions streamline workflows by processing forms, routing documents, and detecting errors and inconsistencies. They also improve accessibility, like we saw, with tags and alt text generation, with natural language queries and multilingual translation. On the compliance side, AI systems working with PDFs can identify sensitive data, suggest redactions, and enforce regulatory rules. But beyond analysis, AI can transform unstructured PDFs into structured data sets and automatically fill forms or generate briefs or things like that. It can even assist in drafting by suggesting text or visuals directly inside PDF editors. So in short, AI-driven PDF represent a shift from static files to intelligent, automated processes, unlocking new value in efficiency, security, and user experience. So let's make this more concrete. So here are some common AI-powered PDF workflows many people are using. So you have contract review and summarization, so letting the AI read the fine print so humans don't have to. Automated compliance checks, so flagging clauses or terms that might violate regulations. You can do bulk metadata tagging, so preparing archives for search and retrieval. And real-time translation, so, and a lot of other things. So each of these is powerful, and each opens up new avenue for sensitive information to slip through the cracks. So what's really inside a PDF? So when we look at a PDF on screen, we see the obvious, the text, the images, the layout. But to an AI system, that's just the start. Hidden inside PDFs, you'll often find OCR text layers, sometimes with errors or leftovers content that nobody probably noticed that it needs to be redacted. Comments and track changes, so things we thought were private can be hidden in the comments and the annotations. Metadata that can contain author names, software versions, which is pretty, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it can also include GPS coordinates, for instance. And that can be, oh yeah, in some cases, yeah, it's really, it can really be a very important information. And also embedded objects, like spreadsheets, images, scripts, and all the information they contain. So these can be invisible to some human readers that are not familiar with all this process, but they are perfectly visible to AI and any kind of AI. So, and if your AI workflow isn't set up to filter or clean that data, it will process everything, whether it's safe to process or not. So that was the risk of PDF, but then you have the risk of AI itself. So now let's talk about what happens when AI gets involved. AI doesn't just read your document, it sends data somewhere to be processed, often outside your control. So that multiplies the risk in 4 key areas. Privacy, so accidental personal data processing, like GDPR violations. Security, sending documents to external APIs that may be hacked or misused. Intellectual property. Models can learn from your proprietary content and reproduce it in other contexts, and often when you didn't even ask for it. Data sovereignty. If your AI provider is subject to laws like the US Cloud Act, for instance, foreign governments may request access. If you think this is never going to happen, I wouldn't be so sure. And these risks aren't just hypothetical. Well, just recently, ChatGPT queries from the public web started appearing indexed in Google search results. Imagine if one of those queries contained your company's internal information. Well, it was fixed quite fast, but other things like that can happen. And also there are other major concerns. While cloud-based generative AI tools are really powerful, let's not forget that they also raise significant concerns about cost and sustainability. Financially, these services often rely on usage-based pricing, meaning cost can quickly escalate with large volume of queries, training, or document processing. I don't know if you just saw the price of the newest ChatGPT Pro that is significantly more expensive than the previous versions. So organization can risk facing unpredictable bills, especially when scaling projects across departments or customer bases. And of course, it's when all these tools will be, when we will need to use them because we use them on small set and we're all hooked on it, then the prices are going up, and what do? We have to pay. Also, ecologically, Cloud Gen AI has a substantial carbon footprint due to the immense energy required to power data center and cool servers. Each large-scale AI model query or training cycle consumes considerable electricity, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. So, of course, now the Gen AI providers are looking for solutions, and some solutions are coming that really will reduce the ecological footprint of all these tools. But what we have to keep in mind, not all the world is using Gen AI yet. Soon we'll have much more people using these tools. So this impact is amplified when millions of users will interact with AI systems simultaneously across the globe. So I'm sorry, I cannot do my presentation without notes, like all the speakers I saw today. So dependence on centralized cloud providers also raise questions about resource concentration and digital sustainability. And this is actually a really major concern for organizations in the public sector, for instance, especially in Europe. For instance, we have a lot of our own customers, like the first question they ask, when we talk about AI is, no, it's too bad for the environment, it's not worth it, it's really, we have to integrate really these issues that many people have about that. So we need to balance innovation with financial predictability and ecological responsibility, and if we want to adopting these Gen AI tools. So let's go back to our main topic with real-world AI and PDF mishaps. So a government agency released redacted documents, but the redacted text was still in the PDF hidden layers, and the AI reading them happily extracted it. A company forgot to strip metadata from product designs before running them through a cloud AI for summarization. That metadata included confidential project names and client contacts. And my favorite, an AI trained on internal documents started generating answers that included confidential details in response to totally unrelated prompts from different departments. The common thread here is that no one thought these failures would happen until they did. And once the data is out, you cannot pull it back. So please note this is a fake letter of intent that I've put here. Well, I made it up, but it still didn't work. But the text is not real. So here's where it gets interesting and complicated. So we're not dealing with just one set of rules. We have GDPR defining how personal data can be processed. Then we have the EU AI Act introducing risk classifications for AI systems. And it's just not just in the EU. There are other AI acts in other countries. Even California is going to have its own soon, I think next year. Then we have also the NIST AI Risk Management Framework that shapes global best practices. On top of that, you have to add the European Accessibility Act and all the accessibility regulation depending on the country. And then we have the PDF standards. If you want to comply to them, also you need to follow some rules. You can have like a PDF-A for archiving, PDF-UA for accessibility, but also there are some rules for encryption, digital signature for security, etc. And all of this, they overlap. A decision you make for GDPR may also affect your AI Act compliance or your ability to meet PDF-A standards for long-term preservation. This is just an example, but there are many. This is why we cannot treat AI, compliance, and PDF as separate silos. They are deeply connected. So, now that we have said that, how do we proceed in all this mess before we go crazy and cry in a corner? So we have several mitigation strategies that we can apply to try to get organized. First one, know your standard. I think you're at the right place here for that. The first mitigation strategy, it's about knowing and using the tools PDF already gives us. And that's why we're all here for this conference. Using encryption to protect content. Using digital signatures to prove authenticity. Using permissions to restrict actions like printing or copying. Using PDF-A for long-term reliable preservation. Using PDF-UA for accessibility. Using proper redaction, not just black rectangles, like I did in my example, but actual, like good redaction to remove sensitive text. And also you can use versioning, so you know exactly what was in a document at any point in time. These aren't new features, but they are often underused. Then the mitigation strategy number 2, data minimization. So this is straight from GDPR. Only process the data you actually need. Before an AI tool even sees a PDF, strip out metadata, comments, unnecessary images, files, anything that doesn't serve the purpose of the task. This is the first thing you need to do. With the right tools, of course, it can be automated. The key is to make cleaning the documents the default step, not an afterthought. Mitigation strategy number 3, so AI architecture choices. Your choice of an AI architecture has a direct impact on your risk level. On-premise AI keeps data entirely under your control, so it's ideal for highly sensitive documents, but it's often slower to deploy and scale. Then you have the cloud AI offers that give you good speed and ease of use, but also introduce exposure risks that we just talked about, especially if your provider trains on your data. So here the rule is if it's free, you're the product. So I would advise never use a free tool for sensitive information. Then you have also hybrid models that let you process sensitive data parts locally while sending low-risk tasks to the cloud, because of course not everything is sensitive. So it's something you need to assess. The important thing is to match the architecture to the data sensitivity and to review that choice regularly, because both technology and regulations are moving fast. Then mitigation strategy number 4, governance and oversight. Mitigation isn't just about the tools, it's also about governance. This means keeping audit logs so you can trace what happened, when and by whom. It means getting user consent where required and not just in a buried checkbox in the term of service. And it means being ready to explain your AI decision making. if a regulator, a client, or even your own CEO asks, why did we need this AI to redact this paragraph? What are the consequences of this choice? You should be able to answer. Governance isn't glamorous, but it's a difference between being in control and hoping for the best. Sometimes, most of the time, compliance gets framed as a blocker. But I like to think of it like the brakes on a car. Brakes aren't there to slow you down. They're here so you can drive faster, just more safely. In the same way, if you build compliance into your AI workflows from day one, you can innovate without fear of a crash. Well, at least until the regulation changes the rules. So we need to be aware of the rules. So how do we actually get there? We start with pilot projects in low-risk areas. So test your AI workflows without betting the farm. So then build governance measures as you scale. Cleaning tools, architecture choices, secure login, training. Training is the most important. Finally, expand into high-sensitivity workflows only once you're confident in both your technology and your compliance processes. So if you remember just 3 things from today. So AI adds enormous value and complexity to PDF workflows. Compliance isn't a blocker, it's a competitive advantage. And it's becoming more and more important with like all the cyber security issues from all over the world, like everybody, especially in government, the public sector, I mean, everywhere, like the first thing clients want to hear about is what do you have in your company that treats like cyber attacks, and how do you manage security? That's the #1 question we get from our clients. So PDF existing features, so we have to know them, combined with strong AI governance are the best way to make smart truly safe. If you get those 3 things right, you're already ahead of most. So at our company, we've put these ideas into practice thanks to LMKit Solutions. So it's a locally deployed generative AI that works directly with electronic documents. This means faster processing, no data leaving your infrastructure, and full compliance with both GDPR and long-term preservation standards. So I won't talk about the tech here, but if you want to see our case study in action, you can check out our poster right after this session. And it will be a real-world example of how you can innovate safely. So thank you for your time and your attention. So this is a fast-moving space, and I know there is a lot to take in, but I hope you live with both caution and optimism. AI doesn't have to be risky if we design it right. So for some questions, I'd like to know if any of you had faced some challenges with combining AI and your document workflows. So. Thank you.
So AI is fast changing. Elodie was fast, but it gives time for exactly this discussion a little bit. So also, I think you experience this. So who wants to start, or has a?
I think for us, one of the biggest challenges we see is in the validation stage. After you have extracted all the needed information out of the PDF file, to ensure that what is extracted and what is being recognized by the AI really fits to the document. So no hallucination, for example, takes place, or no critical information is part of the extracted metadata. And what is your recommendation besides a human review?
Well, that was my solution. Unfortunately, on some documents that are really sensitive, you need to have some kind of human verification, because most of the time also we see that like maybe like 99.5% of the time it's okay, like the info, we have everything. But just in case, like really, especially in legal and insurance and banking and things like that, at the moment we need to check. And this goes back with the keynote the keynote talk of yesterday, when he said that actually it takes longer like developers can spend more time actually using AI because they have to double check everything. We are still at the stage that for some information a human needs to check. But a human that is trained to learn, like for instance in PDFs, that they can be hidden files and they can be linked to other sources.
Okay. Are there strategies or technologies that if you have stripped down your original PDF to keep only the information which should be relevant for the AI, and you did extract all the information out of it, that you can send it again to a different kind of AI to check whether the extracted information is more than what is actually visible in the remaining PDF content, to ensure that, for example, no hidden metadata is taken into consideration or no hallucination took place.
Yeah, I don't think there are any tools that are already doing that automatically, but is anyone like using something like that for checking information? Or
yes, we have developed in the company that I'm working for the testing purposes, because even the test needs to be anonymized. So we have classified the context, not of course images. So we are talking about text. And if we find, let's say, IBAN, social security numbers, this kind of stuff, then we have a process that actually anonymizes the data in order to be on the database for the test purposes. So we have developed small tools that they do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you developed yourself, like
yes.
your own tool.
Yes. We don't sell it. It's internally tool. But yeah, we have developed because we have the problem. I mean, we are receiving bank statements from Versicherung, so from insurances. Yes, so a lot of data, sensitive data.
Yes, so I guess for in most cases it will be like that. Like the company has to build its own verification workflow that is adapted to this specific case. Yeah. So it's more work, also.
I would like to comment also, I mean, we face also this problem with AI. I mean, if we can really upload the data to the AI. So actually, the best mitigation is to have an on-premise system. There is nothing else. If we go to, let's say, to transparency, so I mean, when you sell something, you have third-party libraries that you give to the customer. So definitely you can mention there that you are using, for example, ChatGPT, or you are using, I don't know, Mistral, if you are in Europe. This would be enough in order to be on the safe side, the company, so the PDF producer, let's say. Is it enough just to say to the end user, I'm using that. Do you agree to buy the product? Is it enough, or we have to go an extra step, something else to do?
I guess it depends on the customer, because some customer will be I think it depends if they are really sensitive information or not. But you have, and also with the AI Act, you have to say which tool you're using and how you're using and things like that. So you have to be ready to explain everything to any question that people can ask. So, but for instance, like for the local AI we're using with LMKit, so it's takes different models that can be adapted to the different jobs. So picks the right model, and everything is done locally, and we can, of course, tell the customer which model we're using, if they're okay with using this model.
May I ask about the cost of having locally It's high cost. It's low cost.
It's actually everybody thinks it's really high cost, but not at all, because you need really small. I mean, for processing documents, you can have really small models that can work on. You need a GPU, but you can have like really small models that are really fast and really adapted to the job. You don't need, like, for instance, to have the full the full tool that for just, like, I don't know, like extracting keywords or things like that, or summarization of small documents. Mm-hmm. You don't need to have the full artillery. So you have like smaller models that are really targeted towards specific jobs, because of course you don't need AI for everything. You don't. I mean, there's a lot of things that work really well without AI. Mm-hmm. And you just put the AI on the jobs that you really need it, and it's you with just like computers now are really more powerful. With just a normal computer that you have today, you can run an AI locally.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
But you can during the poster session we have like the developer of this that is here.
I will visit.
Can explain better. But the most difficult thing is actually to explain to the customer, especially if they want to go on premise, why they need like actually an up-to-date computer at least, and you have to be really transparent. And if they want to scale it later and things like that, well, maybe they have to change their infrastructure and things like that. So. Because I see in some of our clients, like the servers they use are really, really old. So maybe like on a 10 years old server, no, it will not work. But if you take something from now, it's fine.
Okay, Elodie, you also spoke about metadata and text, and I remember 2-3 years ago, so maybe outdated today, that we checked, Duff and Peter checked AI solutions, and they did not really care about. We saw positive would help the AI if they take the text and recognize the structure. Has this changed in the market?
Yeah, now it's it's much better now.
Yeah.
So it can always happen.
Okay. Any other experiences or other questions? Yeah.
Have you considered how things like TDM reservation protocol or the metadata to tell AI not to train on your model can be part of these workflows?
Oh.
So I guess is that part of it? Is that something that's been standardized? Are these being part of the workflows now, or is there standardization efforts to bring them in?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So, like, I guess do they like, does ChatGPT understand it? Will they not usually edit to train if you have these as part of your metadata in a PDF or things like that?
No.
No, I'm not sure I understood well.
No, open question. Whether anybody here in the room knows, but you're looking for, let's say, take ChatGPT for a parameter to tell them do not use metadata.
Oh yeah.
No.
But there are also a lot of other tools than ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So.
Because ChatGPT, the famous one.
I think the main question is, what is the best strategy to make the information in the PDF available to the AI? Do I really upload the complete PDF file to let it analyze it? Or do I use a different strategy by extracting, for example, the relevant information in the first step and give, for example, only the extracted text together with a positional information to the AI?
I think it would depend on what. It's always the same. It depends on what you want to do and what is the scale of the sensitivity of your data. So for us, like we have some clients that are. I mean, they don't have really that much sensitive information. So we just like run all the PDF and see what happens, but. Well, yeah. And then
but you had the one slide on data minimization, Elodie, where you said just give what you want, and
yeah.
maybe a little bit brutal, but I would copy and paste to ASCII. Then nothing with metadata text, or he was serious about GPS information can go into the AI. So this would be the other extreme, a little bit too extreme.